Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. Our next guest, very cool to visit with our next guest, former Dallas Cowboy, NFL great Herschel Walker, joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
We're doing fantastic. Appreciate you joining us. You know, I remember back to the convention, and I had so many listeners who reached out to me. They were a huge fan of what you said about the president. And one reason why I'm glad that you're on today is because you have known the president for such a long time that we get to hear kind of the personal side of President Trump, along with, you know, the campaign promises that he has made and kept. Tell us just a little bit about, you know, how your friendship with the president developed and how long you've known the president.
Well, you know, I've known the president almost 38 years, and the way the friendship came about is he became the owner of USFL, the first professional team I played on. And at first, there was a guy out of Oklahoma by the name of J. Walter Duncan that owned the team for a couple of months. And he sold it to this young man out of New York named Donald J. Trump. And I remember he called me up to his office. I went into this building, and I couldn't believe this guy had his own name on his building. And I went up to this beautiful office, and all of a sudden we sit down and talk. We started talking about football, and the next thing I knew, he wanted to go to dinner that night. And the next night, he wanted his family and my family to go to dinner. And from then on, families, we started going to dinner. We started traveling together. His kids during the summer started traveling with my family during the summer, and we became friends. And ever since then, we've talked off and on. And I started listening to what the terrible things they were saying about my friend. Donald never asked me. His campaign never asked me, but I decided I was going to speak out and let people know that he's not a racist, that a lot of people use this word racism just to try to get someone quiet because they don't want you to say anything. And I think that is awful because I know what racism is, and it's not Donald Trump.
Well, and I think that's right. And I think that if you look at the policies and what the president has actually done and what he has said and just who his friends are, the national news media presents him as this racist, figure who, hates anyone who isn't white. And if you look at if you just listen to what people say about him who know him personally like you do, but if you just watch the guy, you know that he's not a racist.
Well, you know that, and you see the energy he has, and what they do is they try to say all these things. They try to do all this impeachment to get you off of what he's doing for America. And I said, that's what I want the people to look at. I said, guys, the truth is he is not a racist. The truth is he loves America. To get people focused on his policies, and once you start looking at the policies and what he's done, you go, wow, man, this guy should be president of the United States. Because I said, let's start matching apples to apples. What Biden has done and what President Trump has done. And you'll be totally shocked that Biden has done zero, President Trump has done a lot. And I said, guys, that's what you got to look at. And don't dislike him off a lot. Yeah. Because that's what the Democratic Party want to do to you now, is to dislike this president off a lot. And then the most important thing is, guys, we're not just fighting for this president, we're fighting for the America's beliefs, like all the great things about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to carry a gun. That's what's on the stake right now because the Democratic Party want to remove all that from you. That's the reason they want you to stay home. They don't want you to get out. They don't want you to have Thanksgiving together. You know, I heard Biden say the other day, we got to look at what the governor in California is doing. He's doing it the right way. And I'm like, are you serious? The governor in California is doing it the wrong way. He just told people for Thanksgiving he only wants 2 members of the family to be there. You can't go outside. You can't do this. And you're like, are you serious? You know, that is terrible that you would say something like that. And I said, guys, we have to put Donald Trump back in office.
Yeah, visiting with Herschel Walker here on the Chad Hasty Show. You're very active on social media, particularly on Twitter, and you put out a tweet just the other day. Just spoke to 6 women of color who are switching to vote for @real Donald Trump. They've been voting Democrat their entire life. What are the conversations like that you have?
Well, you know, that was an interesting conversation there because these was elderly women here. They have been voting Democrat all their whole entire life, and they happened to, and I didn't even see the speech. It was raining. I'm working out in the rain, but they happened to be seeing Barack Obama speaking, and one of the women said he was telling some things that she knew was not the truth. She knew it was not the truth, and she said she changed channel, and I say she went to the Fox channel, and they had Barack Obama on the Fox channel. And then she said, wait a minute, they never showed Donald Trump on whatever channel she was looking at. And she said, wait a minute. Then they started looking up facts. And that's when they found out about Donald Trump policies. And they said they then started realizing that everything that they had been told was not the truth. And so for years, these are elderly women. You're talking about 30-something years. Their whole life they've been voting Democrat, and they just now came to understand that now I'm going to go Republican, so they're going to vote Republican this time. And I said, God, that's what's happening right now. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to wake up African-American, Latino-American, and look at policies. And once you start looking at policies, then you start thinking about, wait a minute, I'm not going to vote this over here. And I said, guys, that's all you got to do. Vote the truth. That's all you have to do. Vote the truth. You see, and I say the worst thing for me is to see BLM, Black Lives Matter, when they say that they're a Marxist organization, but yet the Democratic Party holds them high just to keep everyone else quiet. A group that said that they don't like government, they don't like the police, they don't like a nuclear family, they don't like God. That's who the Democratic Party holds up as one of their major donors.
Yeah, well, it just, you look at some of these cities that have been burned to the ground over, what the protesters would call racial injustice. But it has nothing to do with racial injustice. They don't care. They just want to create more division in America, and they're targeting homeowners and business owners who many times are minority business owners.
Well, and I'll tell you one of the worst things, and I said, guys, you can look this up, and that's why I've looked things up. This is not coming from no campaign to give me anything. These are things I looked up myself. Black Lives Matter started in 2013. I think they've raised over $5 billion from all these huge corporations around the United States of America, but yet they've never given a cent to any black family. They never started a African-American scholarship. They never started an African-American school. They never gave a dime to any African-American that has been injured. They gave money to Act Blue, which is the Democratic Party, and yet they go out and they talk about Black Lives Matter. When I said, guys, you better wake up. They're trying to separate people right now. The United States of America is the greatest country in the world. We have our problems, but we're not a systemic racist country that we don't know what we're doing, that we can't get along. If that is so, how do we have a black president for 2 terms? That means white people had to vote for him. Do we have our problems? Yes, we do. Can we solve our problem together? Yes, we can. But don't have no one to come in and separate people, because in the Holy Bible, if they don't preach forgiveness and togetherness, that's not the Bible I know of.
Herschel Walker, good place to end on right there. Appreciate your time. Appreciate what you're doing out there. And I know the president appreciates it as well. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you, and God bless you now.
Thank you. You too. That's Herschel Walker, former Dallas Cowboy, friend of President Trump, NFL great.